When you talk about first-time buyers being your main customer,
Yeah.
what do they look at that you don't think is necessary? What goes through the mind of a first-time buyer?
They're looking at the aesthetics, right? They're coming in and saying, "Oh, I like the shutters on the front of the house, or I like the paint of the living room, or I like the carpet color." I mean, these are all things that can be changed, and people need to not get hung up on that kind of stuff. You need to look at what it could be, not what it is. What do you want it to be, right? You can come into a home and do a complete paint job relatively quickly, relatively cheaply. So don't focus on those aesthetics. Look at the home as a whole and say, this is a major investment. Because even if it is a first time home buyer, it's still an investment, right?
Yeah.
Everybody who owns a home should be an investor in their mind. And they say, okay, I'm going to buy this house for $275,000, but I need a new roof. That's going to be, 10 grand. Or I'm going to need foundation repairs. That could be 15, 20 grand, who knows. And look at the investment as a whole. Even that first time you go in to look at it, you don't need to wait for a home inspector to tell you some of those things. You can figure that stuff out on your own.
Right. What are the main things that affect a house in regards to safety?
Safety.
Yes. Because you said that that's where you look at safety
Yeah,
and
functionality.
functionality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Electrical is going to be a big one, especially on older homes.
Okay.
So if you're looking at, say, a pre-19, let's say 1975, you're looking at something built in the 60s, you might have old, outdated breaker boxes that don't meet modern standards. They might not be grounded. So if it's an ungrounded outlet, that electricity has nowhere to go. If there's a power surge, there's nowhere for the electricity to go quickly, so it's going to find the quickest ground path, right? It's going to find the quickest path to ground. And if that's you plugging something in at that moment, you might be the quickest path to ground.
Right.
But if it's a grounded system, then the idea is that it's going to make its way to the ground safely and quickly. So that might be something. And a quick way to tell is, does it have two-prong outlets? So if the outlets on the wall only have two prongs, it's not grounded. It's got to have three.
Ah.
If it's three-prong, it could just be updated outlets and still being ungrounded. And that's where I come in, because I come in and I
Because
test them
you
all.
take it out.
Yeah. Oh, I don't take them out, but I have a tester. I have an outlet tester, and I test every single outlet in the home that I can.
So that's a no for home inspection. So if I hire you to inspect a home and then they're not grounded, is that a big deal, or is that something that can be fixable easily?
It just depends on you. It depends on what you're willing to take on.
Okay.
So if you're willing to take on a home that's ungrounded, then go for it. Is it an immediate danger every time you plug in you're unsafe and you could die? Probably not. That's probably not the right way to look at it. It's a safety issue for sure, but it's not. It's been like that for 50 plus years, right?
Right.
So you got to put these things in context and be like, okay, I love the house. It's everything we want. It's the right price. It's in the right area. Yada yada yada. Meets all these standards. Am I okay with the fact that it's not grounded? And now I'm gonna, maybe in 5 years, or maybe 5 months, or in 5 weeks, I'm gonna update the electrical system, and that's going to cost me $7,000 or $10,000 or whatever it costs. And it just comes down to what you're willing to deal with.
Right. Okay, so electrical.
Electrical.
What other
Another big one would be
factor?
like gas. Does it have gas furnace, gas fireplace, gas stoves, and are there leaks? I find leaks a lot, even small ones. I have a gas sniffer. It's a little tool that I use, and I test around unions and things like that. If I smell something, and then if there's a gas leak, I'll report it to the seller's agent right away, and they can get someone out to fix it right away. People don't realize there are gas leaks all the time. Even though gas smells, it can go unnoticed for quite some time.
Gas. When you talk about gas, you mean what we use to warm things up around the house?
Gas furnace, gas stove, gas fireplace, things like that. Natural gas.
Okay, so electrical, gas, what other?
Another big one would be exhaust. So your gas furnace is going to have an exhaust, right? Your gas water heater is going to have exhaust. Gas fireplace will have a flue that goes outside, vents out the exhaust fumes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. One time I was in a condo, so very similar to an apartment, just you own it instead of rent it, right? And was it second floor? I think it was second floor unit. And I went into the utility room, just a closet that had the water heater and the furnace in it. And the water heater, as I was inspecting it, I looked at the flue. So it's a vent, right, that comes up and it goes over and then up again and out wherever they terminate it, the roof or the sidewall. I don't know. And it's completely disconnected. It's not even a little bit connected. The vent is completely disconnected. So every time that water heater is heating up water, all of those noxious fumes are just dumping into the condo. They're just spilling out into the living space. And the homeowner, the people who are selling the house, had two little girls. I mean, little girls. And so, obviously I'm going to call that out on the report, but it's also an immediate safety hazard because those fumes can be deadly. And so I, contacted the selling agent. She had the seller come home right away. I showed the seller what I was talking about. And she's like, well, what do I do? I said, you need to call, a contractor, probably a plumbing contractor, and have them come out. And because, I can reconnect it. I can just stick the flue back together, but it needs to be actually connected properly. It came apart for a reason. Maybe it's no longer fitting right or something broke, so it needs repairs.